What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a short little overview of an awesome knife to do with you guys. This is the Boker Kalashnikov, but not a standard Kalashnikov. This is the BladeHQ Red Widow Edition. Thanks to my buddy Lon, we'll be able to take a look at it today. It's not going to be a full review because I have already thoroughly reviewed both the small Kalashnikov and the standard size Kalashnikov. These are all three owned by my buddy Lon, who has let me hang on to them for a very long time so that I could do these videos. I've already given my thoughts on the Kalashnikov. Initially, it wasn't positive. Then I retracted my thoughts on it after I reviewed this guy that's been used for 13 years by Lon, and it's still going. So given the price point on these things, my thoughts are, if you haven't watched my reviews, is that they are excellent budget automatic knives. Really great knives. The fact that they offer these things in exclusive runs, different colors, different blade shapes is even cooler. Thus the reason for the video on this red one here today. So if you didn't watch the unboxing, the short story on this knife is that Lon had told me, he's going to be like, what the heck? Lon had told me, hey, a while back I saw a red one of these, and I said, I'm pretty sure I know where that came from. So I sent him the link, and he bought it, and he said, do you want to show it on your channel? I said, absolutely. I really like the false dagger blade on this. Whether or not it's more practical or less practical, I have no idea. But I really like how that looks. And I'll tell you, the coolest version of this that I've ever seen is this one right here. This BladeHQ exclusive. Just a week or so ago when he bought this, they were in stock. But I just looked, and at the time of this video, they're out of stock. So hopefully they come back. But it's the same exact overall size as a regular Kalashnikov. So I'll go ahead and do the measurements here. Overall length is about 7 3/4 inches, maybe just shy of that. Blade length is coming in at about 3.4 inches. Your actual cutting edge is about 3.1, maybe 3.2 inches. Just, just because. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 coming in at about 8.6 inches overall. Up against the PM2 coming in at about 8.3 inches overall. Up against the Ritter Hogue, or Benchmade Griptilian, however you want to look at that. Benchmade Griptilian coming in at 8 inches overall. And last but not least, actually not quite last, the Spyderco Delica coming in about 7 inches overall. And just once again, even though I already showed it, up against the small Kalashnikov. The small Kalashnikov being, let's measure it. I can't remember. Small Kalashnikov coming in at like 5 3/4. Yeah, it's 5 3/4 inches overall. Not quite 6. Let me make sure, do that again just to make sure. Yeah, not quite 6. So this is it's about a medium-sized knife is what I'd call it. Not quite 8 inches overall, but certainly does fill out the hand. So the blade is coated red. Now, I don't know what type of coating this is, but here's an example of how the coatings hold up over time. If they're using the same coating, which they might not be. I have to imagine that the coating is more durable now than it was back then. This has held up surprisingly well. Over the course of 13 years. So Lon told me this does not get babied. It gets used for a lot of different stuff, and it's still firing just fine. I have to imagine the coating's a little bit more durable. Other than that, it's the same thing. You got the red version of that cool, unique pivot, red coated button, red hardware. You've got red standoffs even. Handles are still aluminum 6061 T6. You have a red clip now and a red female side of the pivot. We cracked the joke that the bacon clip is now actually the color of bacon. So that's cool if you're into that, if you're a fan of bacon and having bacon on your knife in some weird form. Here's the best thing about this knife. It's just as snappy as every Kalashnikov I've handled. The blade did come centered. So we've got good center, maybe just a tad off to one side, but that probably can be fixed by just tightening the pivot down. It doesn't rub, it fires hard, but this one, unlike the one that I had and Lon's that's been used for 13 years, this one, a lot like the small one, if you remember that review, does not have side-to-side blade play. There's no side-to-side blade play at all. Even up and down, which is a lot of times with the button lock on an automatic, I get a little bit of up and down. I'm not feeling it. So, and maybe I just got a really, really good one, or maybe that's the way that they normally come, and I've just had a couple of bad examples. But that's impressive. This is a $43 knife, and it's, you know, they're gonna stand up to use and abuse. I mean, reasonable. You know what you would reasonably ask of a folding knife. And you get that cool coating. I mean, you're not seeing a lot of stuff out there like this. And, you know, OS 8's not the best steel in the world, but is it going to be fine for EDC tasks? Yeah. You know, it worked for lawn for 13 years. It's not going to, most people are going to be okay with it at that price point, given what you get. So I think this is awesome. I think this is really fun. And I hope that, you know, BladeHQ does more of these. You know, as it stands right now, as far as I'm aware, the Boker Kalashnikov comes in 3 different sizes. I think the largest size is an exclusive to some particular online retailer, which I can't remember off the top of my head, so I'm not sure. But it comes in the XL size, or the large size that comes in this medium size, and then it comes in the small size. And betwixt all of those different sizes, there's like a bajillion different visual options, you know, different blade shapes. We got 3 different blade shapes right here: drop point, dagger, and tanto. I think there's also a Warncliffe, and I don't know, maybe something else. I've seen flat dark earth coatings. I think there's a blue coated one. I don't know, you know, I know that there's a cts-xhp variant. I think there's a bunch of different colors for the handles. I mean, I'm probably leaving a bunch of stuff out. There's also a manual version of this. But pretty good prices for the most part. You know, they get a little more expensive, especially when you're looking at the manual cts-xhp one. But really inexpensive for the base version, and there's a ton of different options. I just really think that this knife is cool, and this is my favorite variant of all the Boker Kalashnikovs that I've handled. Like I said, this isn't really going to be a review because I've already reviewed it. This is an awesome knife, and this is just an awesome variant of it. Give you guys a close-up of the blade, so you can see here what we're looking at. The coating is very even all the way around. You know, there weren't any scratches or any smudges or any unevenness in the coating from the factory. The scales look good. Button looks good. All the hardware is coated nicely. The clip looks good. You know, oftentimes when you get these like crazy colored blades, the coating's a little bit off or it's uneven in places and it's kind of a letdown. But no, visually, this is great. This is really, really great for the $43 that Lon paid for it. I think this is awesome. I don't know if there's a whole lot else that I can say other than I think that, you know, the dagger grind, the false dagger grind is going to be, you know, plenty good for EDC. It's probably not going to get as thin behind the edge as what the drop point's capable of, given that the drop is in the middle, you know, instead of the top. But if you do a lot of tasks that require you to, you know, poke the blade in, or, you know, maybe do a little bit of kind of digging around with your blade, you know, maybe that's going to work out just fine. Honestly, I think most people are not going to notice much of a difference, or if there is a difference in utility, it's probably negligible. But given that the blade is so thin is what I mean. The starting thickness of the blade is pretty darn thin. So as far as how thin it gets behind the edge, you know, it's plenty good for regular EDC tasks. So Lon tells me he plans to use this. I think that's cool. If I'm able to, I'll give you guys an update video down the road to show you how that coating holds up. But that's going to be pretty much it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little overview. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.